Good morning, everyone. I'm Jennifer Clark, the Operations Coordinator with the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, the third in our series on survivors' financial empowerment. Before we get started and I hand it off to today's trainer, Naseem Sarabandi, I'm going to go over just a few logistics items for today's webinar. We are going to keep all lines muted for participants today, so we ask that you use the chat box or the Q&A module for any questions or comments that you have. We will have time at the end of today's webinar to go over that content. We are also recording today's webinar, and a copy of the recording as well as the materials will be shared with you in a follow-up email. There is also a link to the materials for today's webinar in the chat box. Today we are providing ASL interpretation and live captioning. To turn on captioning, you can click the CC button in your toolbar for captions to appear in the bottom of your screen or to open the transcript in a separate box. And with that, I will hand it over to Naseem Sarabandi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer, for your support and always being here and helping with transitioning to the webinar content so smoothly. Thank you to interpreters and captioner and everybody that coming here today and participating in today's webinar. I am Naseem Sarabandi, Project Coordinator at the New York State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Today, we are going to have our third webinar as a part of a series. And we had two others last two Thursdays. And we are going to cover the third module of the Allstate Foundation Moving Ahead Curriculum, which includes the credit score, credit report, how to improve your credit, and bankruptcy. We are going to go through a lot of information today. There is going to be a lot of resources also, as my colleague mentioned. If you need to catch up on the previous recordings, you can definitely reach out to us or my colleague Jennifer and ask for the recording of the last two modules. So before going into the webinar, why we are doing this training series? Economic Empowerment Project of the Coalition started in 2019 with a grant from Allstate Foundation and a support from TA standpoint and technical assistance and training from National Network to End Domestic Violence. We have the grant process open usually in the summer, in mid-summer, and we choose three sub-grantees. So we have currently 3 domestic violence programs across the New York State as our sub-grantees. And their projects focuses on financial planning, credits, employment, and match saving. I want to say that training of the advocates on this curriculum is also part of our work, and that we'll do probably every year with this grant. So what is in the Allstate Foundation curriculum? Curriculum is, it does have 5 modules. As I mentioned, we covered the first 2 modules, and we are in the third one, which is about credit. And the next Thursday, we are going to cover the information about Module 4 and Module 5. We are combining these two, which is a lot of information about loans, financial paperwork, about long-term planning, education saving, and retirement and insurance and investments. So I hope you can participate next week or be with us at the last webinar. So the third module, it covers all the information about your credit report, understanding credit score, improving credit score, understanding bankruptcy, and there is a lot of slides at the end for the advocates who are working in New York State, and they would need probably resources in these areas. Before we transition inside the content of this webinar, we prepared a pre-test for you to examine your knowledge about credit. It's a pool you can participate, and you can be part of this information sharing. It would be helpful for us to know how much you know about the credit. So here you can see the questions. There's going to be 5 questions. I want you to scroll down. I'm gonna read each questions and please answer to each of them as I'm reading them. So the first question is asking on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being expert to credit and 5 being what's a credit report. How well do you understand your credit report? So you can click on each of these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let us know what is your knowledge around credit report. The next question, the second one, it's a true false questions. So we are asking Equifax, TransUnion, and Visa are the 3 credit reporting agencies. Please let us know if you think this is a true or false statement. And the third question is again a true false question. So the most important factor counts the most of your credit score is the type of credit. For example, credit card vs home mortgage. You can let us know if you think this is a true statement or a false statement. And the fourth question is asking you the fastest way to improve your credit score is to do one of these options. You can choose all that applies and you think is correct. The first one is cancel all lines of credit and concentrate on paying off your debt. The second one is take out a new line of credit and manage it responsibly. The third one is saying take advantage of all efforts for new lines of credit. And the fourth one is pay at least the minimum in all current lines of credit. And the fifth one is ignore it all and go on vacation with your remaining available credit. And then the fifth question is again a true and false statement, which it says inquiries made by third parties, in parentheses soft hits, do not impact your credit score. So let us know if you think this is a true or a false statement. I'm going to give it a second for everyone to have a moment, participate, think about each statement, each questions. Great, thank you. So we are going to see the results now. So in the first questions, majority of the participants are between 3 or 4. So they know what is credit report, probably need more information about the details and what is in the credit report, which is a really good poll. And As you can see on the result on the second questions, which was a true and false question, Equifax, TransUnion, Visa are the three credit reporting agency, and that's a false statement. And I will go through the three main reporting agency, but here Visa is not a credit actually reporting agency. So in the third statement, the most important factor that counts the most of your credit score is the type of credit. And a good number, 67% said that it's a false statement, which is a really good number, and it is false. Your payment history is the most important factor, which I will go through all this information. In the fourth questions, the fastest way to improve your credit score is to choose one of these options. And here there were only two correct answers. Well, the last one is of course the wrong one. Ignore everything and just go on vacation. Definitely it's not that one. So the right one is pay at least the minimum on all of your current lines of credit or debt that you have, which is a way to improve your credit. And the second way is take out a new line of credit and manage it responsibly. The other three are not true, are not the correct way of improving your credit, which I will go through all this information too. And then the last question, and the fifth one, it's saying that inquiries made by third parties, soft hits, do not impact your credit score. That's actually a true statement. And I'll go and I will provide information what actually hits your credit score, but soft hits doesn't apply. Thank you for the participation. I know without having the knowledge, just talking about this statements or questions, it might be a little confusing. So hopefully by end of this webinar, you will be able to answer to all these questions correctly and have evidences for that. So now we are going to talk about credit report. Credit report, it's very important. You know, it can help you to get loans. You can apply for credit cards with very low interest rates, a better credit that you have. It can improve your ability to rent an apartment and also rate shopping for insurance coverage or get a new job, a job that you would want. The fact is that the new employer, landlords, insurance companies, and they can have access to your report. They can see your personal information, your payment history, the record of lawsuits against you, any cases of bankruptcy, and how many times you applied for credit. That's why it affects your ability to get a job, to rent an apartment, to take a new type of loan or a housing. Credit report shows any unpaid loans, how much you owe to the creditors or lenders, such as your bank, or if you are paying your loans actually or debts on time. So it's really important to be current and pay your debts on time. Here, I actually added a chart that talks about credit score. Credit score and the good credit that you have, it can affect the interest rate that you can get on your housing, on your mortgage. As you can see, a person who has 720 or 850, like between 720 to 850 credit score, can get a very much better monthly payment or mortgages on a 30-year fixed rate $300,000 loan for the housing. But a person who is having like a credit score between 500 to 559 or 560 is actually paying almost double every month for the same housing. So the higher the credit score, the lower the rate that you can get, because you are actually exposing less risk to the lenders. But how do you access your credit report? This was part of the questions, pre-test questions we did. These are the three main agencies that you can get your credit report. So it's Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. You also can reach out to annual credit report request service and ask for the three of them, you know. The fact is that you have the right to ask for your credit report free every 12 months. And this is your right. This credit report agency, they don't need to give you a credit score, but they should give you a credit report. I also heard recently that during the pandemic, because of financial issues that a lot of people are going through, and they need to do, you know, probably change housing or like finding a new job, you actually can apply for the credit report almost every week for free. This is like probably something temporary. It might go away after the pandemic, but that's what I heard. So now we are going through some credit facts. This was also part of the questions we had in the pre-test that will, um, you know, clear a lot of myth and questions and dilemma around credits. Checking your or pulling your own credit score or report does not hurt or lower your credit rating. So this is considered a self-inquiry. You are doing it, it's not gonna affect your rating. Credit inquiries made by companies checking your credit report to send you pre-approved offers like on housing or like on the mortgages do not count. So this is kind of like a soft hit. It's not going to count. But if you accept an offer, the pre-approved offer, and the credit card company or lender pulls your credit to do more research or more true credit check, that counts. And it counts by almost 5 points. So you will have the rating, your rating will go down another 5 points. I want to also say that when you take a new line of credit, you will get hit another 5 points. So when you go and apply for a new credit card, that's when your rating goes actually lower because you are increasing your level of debt, and that's why you get hit. Um, Also, one of the other facts is the FICO system counts multiple inquiries made in the 14 days period as one inquiry for a large purchase. So you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you want to take out loans on something big. You can do rate shopping as long as it is in that 14 days period, and it will count as just one inquiry. Sorry, I'm taking a sip of water. There are also some tips that you can consider when you are using a credit card or trying to keep your credit activity very healthy. Only apply for credit when you need it. So probably twice a year, it's a good number. Just like applying for credit without your need or something that you would probably, you know, urgently would use that. It's not a good behavior or good practice. Avoid applying for unneeded retail credit cards. You know, when you go shopping and you want to save 10%, I don't know, 20% or 15% on your shopping, and they offer you a credit card. But think about that credit card, it's going to bring down your rating another 5 points. So Do you really need that? And can you afford like to going 5 points lower on your credit rating? When you're reviewing your credit report, there's going to be a lot of information there. It's going to have your personal identifying information, which is your date of birth, address, employment, social security number, and of course your name. It will include all the inquiries. So list of the creditors who requested your report in the last 2 years. And it will have your credit history, different type of credit accounts, such as your mortgage, your credit cards, or any other balances that you might have on it. And it will have your public records, so any bankruptcy filing, foreclosures, judgments, or any liens on you. So credit report is definitely an identifier. It only cares about your debt and how you manage it, and that's the topic that we are going to cover very well in this webinar. Also, there is a specific issues for domestic violence survivors around credit report. The fact that is the partner or your ex-partner can access your address through your credit report. Remember, it has your address, so they can find where you are. And they can also affect your credit rating because of the joint account that you have with them. So if a survivor has a joint account, an abuser is taking a loan or like some money out of it and is not paying it off on time, it's gonna negatively affect their credit. And also collection claims may rise from domestic violence situation. You know, when a survivor lives with somebody and with an abuser or partner or ex-partner, and they leave that housing, um, uh, their name is still on the loan, you know, on the contract. There are options to remove their name, but you should be also consider that there might be collection claims if they don't do that. And also, I want to mention that your partner actually can uses your credit accounts without your permission. And when a situation like that happen, this is kind of like a coerced debt, you know, it's posing a debt on you. You can file for charges with the police. And there is very beneficial points to do a police report because it can help you to repair the damage. And you should never be accountable for that debt that you never took out. And also, I want to say that you can use that copy of the report to dispute any claims that there might be against you. So what makes up your credit score? All these factors that you're seeing in this pie, they makes up your credit score. They have different weights. That means that your rating is affected by each of them in a different balance. So your payment history is 35%, as I mentioned, is the most important factor. There is amounts owed, 30%, type of credit, 10%, new credit, 10%, length of credit history, 15%. It's very hard and it's kind of impossible to say exactly how important any of these are all approximate numbers, that these factors, based on each person, it can also be different. So I want to say, just think about this as like an approximate number, not a definite. And different debt is weighted differently. So if you have a card and you're taking a loan on that, and it's very different from having a credit card and you need to pay the balance on that every month. The credit card calls for revolving debt, and it's weighted usually heavier than a mortgage or a car loan because there is no collateral. So your car and your home can be a collateral. That's why they might not be as heavy as the credit card's balance. Now going into the factors that impact your credit score. We mentioned so many times payment history. It's the most important factor. It shows your payment information on your credit card, retail accounts, installment loans, finance company accounts, mortgages, everything. And it shows the presence of any negative records, including bankruptcy, any lawsuits, any judgment, any liens, any wage attachments, any collection, and delinquency. So delinquency is the amount that is past due items. Um, it also shows the amount past due on delinquent accounts and the length of past due. So you are passing on paying some of your loans, it will show that on your credit report. Time since there were items past due and any negative or any collection item. So you can see the credit history. It's the most important part because it shows to the creditors and lenders if you are having a negative and how, if you are able to actually retrieve that, positively pay that amount like next month, or you can't pay that like for a year. So it's very big indicator of your reliability for taking debt. And it also shows the number of accounts paid as agreed, which is a good situation. You wanna show that. You wanna show you're in a good standing. Another factor that impacts your credit score is the amount you owed. Your score considers how much debt you currently owe, and it's a factor to help, as I mentioned, lenders decide if you can take a new responsibility as getting a new loan or a new debt. It also indicates the number of accounts with the balances. So the proportion of credit lines, you have like 3,000 credit line and you are using like 20% of, you're carrying a balance on 20% of that 3,000. So it shows the proportion of that balance. And it also shows the amount owing on each accounts that you have on your car loans, on your mortgages, how much is left, how much is paid off, and things like that. The next factor is the length of credit history. So it shows how much time and experience you have using your credit. The more time you have and you manage that more responsibly, it's actually better for you and it shows a good history. It can shows how long you have been using the credit and the date you open your account. So if you apply a new account for a new account, it will show that. It shows the time since accounts opened by a specific account. So if your mortgage company is taking a new account on you, or like your dealership that you're buying a car, giving you a loan, it shows everything there. And it shows the activity, the time since the account activity. So it can like really indicates what's going on in your, financial life. The another factor, I think it was like about 10% weighted, it's the new credit. Credit score consider how often you apply for loans, for new loans. As I mentioned, it's better to take new line of credit probably like twice a year, not more than that, because that can show that you are a risky person to creditors or lenders. It shows number of recently open accounts and the proportion of accounts that are recently open and number of the credit inquiries. So if you go to get on a family plan or like a new phone plan for AT&T, or for T-Mobile or anything like that, and they would run a credit inquiry, it will show that there. And it shows the establishment of positive credit history after having past payment problems. Um, The next factor and the last one is the type of credit. It considers the credit report considers how you manage multiple type of credit, like your mortgage, your auto loans, and your revolving credits, which is your credit cards. And your mix and number of credit accounts, so how many revolving account you have, how many installment account you have, and things like that. Here you can see a sample of credit report, and we highlighted in the numbers the most important ones. So you can see your name, address, former address, and date of birth. And the reference number is really important. Summary of your accounts and types indicates which of the three reporting agencies is issuing this report. And you can see here is Experian, and this shows that the type of account, is it a mortgage? Is it an installment? Is it revolving? What kind of account it is? And I want to ask your attention to the last line here, which there is like green and red boxes. And just pay attention to how your past due payment that you probably missed or you paid with a delay can become red flagged. The last payment, the late payment is a risky, and it shows a red alarm for the lenders. And you can see this person have some red alarm here. So now we covered the credit report. We are going to cover credit score. And a score is different from the report. Your score is based on all the factors that we mentioned, and you definitely have a score. Um, and a lot of banks and places, they can get that score. Information in your credit report changes because the importance of these different factors, it actually changes based on the payments that you make, and it can determine your score. So 1 year you see that your mortgage, it's going to be the most important, but then next year it might be your credit line. So it's going to be different. It's also important to know that your score only considers your debt and how you manage it. But the lender and creditors, they look at other things. They look at your income, how long you've been employed in your job, kind of credit that you are requesting, and the collateral that you might be able to secure for a loan. Like, are you able to back up your loan with something? Um, your credit report does not include some information. This is a myth. Some people think it does, but it doesn't. So it doesn't include your race, religion, sex, nationality, marital status, age, and income. There is no information about that. Now we are getting to the exciting topic of how to improve our credit score. What are the best ways? What are the best practices? Well, the first and the most important one is pay your credits on time. That's the most important one. The timely payment that you make actually can prevent negative impact. And if you are consistent and on time, your score will eventually grow and it will show up in your report. If you miss a payment, try to get current and stay current. I have to say that the payment in collection, even if you pay them off, it will stay in your report for 7 years. That's a very long time. Contact the creditors or legitimate credit counselor if you cannot pay your credit. Try to work out a way to pay off your debt or loan. Keep the balance low on the credit cards and follow 30% rule. I will explain this rule next in the next slide and how it plays out for each credit card. But always keep that ratio in your mind, 30%. Pay off your debt and pay your revolving debts. And that's very important. Um, I want to say you can use your credit cards for things that have a durable good. For instance, if you go to a restaurant and you put a dinner on a credit card and you carry a balance, then you will have you will add interest to that credit, which is not good. But if you can actually put that dinner on your credit card and you are able to pay it off by end of the month, that's actually rewarding. So always think about how you are using your credit, and is it worth it to put the dinner that you're not going to be able to pay at the end of the month on your credit or not. Here is the golden rule of credit, which is 30%. As you can see, this person, this imaginary person, has two line of credit, credit A, credit B, and this person is having a limit on each of them and is taking different percentage on each of them every month. And the first and the best scenario that you can go, it's the balance to limit ratio of 30%. That will show your reliability. I wouldn't recommend the second one because the second one is basically putting a lot of credits on one credit card, a lot of balance, and is not putting any balance on the second one. And you also have the third one, which is like 25%. Anything between 25% and 30% ratio is actually good. So you can use this example as a way to manage your credit limits. So to continue the improvement of your credit score, I would recommend you not to close unused credit cards as a short-term solution to raise your score. Actually, it's not going to be positive. It's going to impact you negatively. You can close the credit card that you have from stores and you haven't used them in many years. I still wouldn't recommend that. But closing a Visa or a MasterCard, it's actually gonna affect you negatively. So the Visa and MasterCard are very important. The best practice for them is keep, even though they are inactive, but in good standing. So keep using them. Every 6 months, try to put $100, $200 on them and paying them off by end of the month. And the other option is don't open a new line of credit if you don't need it. I've been mentioning that. I think it's very important to think twice before opening a line of credit. Having credit cards and loans managed responsibility is actually very positive. For a lot of creditors and lenders, a person that doesn't have any credit card and credit history, it's much higher risk, which will affect definitely their payment and their housing options and their work options and type of loans and credit they can take. The other practice is if you're managing a credit for a short amount of time, just don't open new one too quickly. You open a new line of credit last month and you decide like, okay, I need another one, but just wait for it, wait 6 months or a year. Try to pace that, try to put like some distance between opening the line of credit. And also as scores, consider how often you apply for loans and get a new line of credit. So it's a good way to establish your credit if you had a problem to get a new loan or like try to paying it off and try to make it more positive, but also be careful about that. As I mentioned, the rate shopping, if you keep your rate shopping in a 14 days period, it wouldn't affect your credit score or credit rating. And we mentioned that it's okay to request your credit report and it will not affect your score because that's you actually doing it and you are asking directly from the reporting agencies. Some points to keep in mind: opening a new line of credit in name of your children is illegal and is a form of identity theft, so don't do it. It's very important to be considerate around that. The accounts that you close will show up in your credit report. So even if you go and you close that credit card and that you had, it's gonna show up in the report. Make sure you know how to read your credit card statement. So you know where to find the minimum amount due, the total due, the due date, and interest rate. I've been mentioning installment account and revolving account a lot, but what are these active credit accounts? In installment accounts, it's like a loan, like your car loan. You have a balance, you have a set balance, and interest rate and monthly payment for a set period of time. You have a 12 months, 24 months, 36 months on your car loans. And when you paying it off and it's complete, the account will be closed. That's in installment. The revolving accounts are your credit cards. They don't have a set balance, but they have credit limit. And it will remain open as long as if you use it for like every 6 months. And there is an interest that will be charged to the entire balance if it's not paid off on time. So keep in mind that revolving accounts are all the credit cards that you have, and the interest rate can change on them. And the best practice is having at least 3 line of active credit and having one installment like a car loan or something that have like set terms or things like that. It's better, and having one revolving. So one installment, one revolving. Um, The last thing I want to mention here is using a credit card for a regular budgeted and monthly expenses. It's actually good if you can pay the balance in full at the end of the month. Paying your revolving debt, like on your credit, is the second biggest factor impacting your score. So the first one was credit history, and the second one is the paying off your revolving debt. You might have come across some errors and problems in your credit report. I would recommend you to immediately act and take action and try to fix that because it's damaging. You can do that online or by mailing a letter. We provided, I think there is a copy or a template for a letter in the curriculum in the third module that you can use that as a place of a start and to write a letter to reporting agencies. Make sure you are making a copy of your report and circling all the incorrect items. And you can write the letter to credit reporting agency, provide them with evidences to dispute those errors, and always provide them copies. You shouldn't send them your actual documents. Send a similar letter to the creditor that you think that they reported incorrect information. The reporting agency, they should begin investigating by contacting the creditors in 30 days. So they have a 30 days window as a date of the dispute. You send the letter to act. If they cannot verify the entry that is in your credit report and they cannot say it's correct, they have to remove it. You have the right to receive a new corrected version of your report, and you have the right to ask the reporting agency to send a copy to anybody that received your former report in the last 6 months, which is very important. You know, you want to correct the inconsistency or any wrong information. I have to say that accurate negative information like delinquent accounts or bankruptcy will remain on your report for at least 7 years. So if there is like accurate negative information, it will stay there. If you need help for the credit, and you cannot make your payment, the best action is, the first one is contacting your creditor ASAP and work out a payment plan, try to find a solution. The next one is like contacting your credit counseling service or reputable financial coaching organizations. And there are some websites that have like a lot of good information about credits and information for domestic violence survivors. I can say the National Consumer Law Center, NCLC, is one of them. It has a tag for domestic violence survivors. One other place is National Foundation for Credit Counseling, NFCC. And one other place is FTC. FTC is a good place for disputing any coerced debt and any form of identity theft. A bit of information about bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is the last resort if you cannot pay your debt. Don't go to bankruptcy option immediately. So it might help some people to get rid of their debt or pay their creditors. But the problem is it will stay in your credit history for 10 years since you do the bankruptcy. And it will not eliminate child support, alimony, fines, past due taxes, and student loans, and will not clean up your bad credit. So this is something that you need to build up on. There are two types of bankruptcy. It's Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. The most common one is the Chapter 13. This is a situation when the creditors actually come to the court and they agree on a certain amount that they will take from you, but then you will have a payment plan for the rest of the debt. You can pay it in the next 3 years. But as I mentioned, before doing a bankruptcy, definitely talk to a counselor, talk to a trusted attorney. So before filing for bankruptcy, as I mentioned, reduce your spending, talk to creditors, and talk to an attorney, talk to a counseling agency. And you can also consider a debt consolidation option, which you may be able to borrow, against a retirement account or any other assets that you might have to pay your debt or your loan. We all know that bankruptcy affects the credit report and affects your financial health. So it can affect you getting a job, and it can affect your insurance rating, and it might become even difficult to rent apartment or qualify for any kind of mortgage. And as I mentioned, it stays in your report for 10 years. So the next 3 slides are more about resources around bankruptcy. We actually scan a lot of resources and places, and some of them we borrowed from Hair Justice Organization. These are the places that you can contact in terms of bankruptcy in New York City. And the same is also, you can contact this in the New York City, the organizations for, some assistance. And then this third one, it's more for the other survivors in the other part of the state, and either upstate or in the Hudson area, or any part of like central part of the state. And they usually provide like assistance or help without charging, or pro bono services. The last thing that I want to actually talk about in this webinar, and we are reaching at the end of the webinar, is it's tax. And we all know, as people who live in the society, that we have to pay our tax, but then we have to fight for our tax. And an income tax credit, it's a program by the IRS, that can be really beneficial for the survivors of domestic violence and their household. It's largely encouraged by the state. The program exists in New York State and in many other states. And even IRS encouraged this program because people who are having a low income or moderate income, they can actually receive a good amount of money in their tax return when they file for the tax. And also, a lot of research shows that the families that receive the tax return, they have a better health and they have less stress. Um, IRS also encourages this because it brings back the money, cash to the economy, and it helps the states. So that's why we provided a lot of information here. It's tax season is coming up, so you can use these free tax preparation services in the New York State, or you can check the government website and to see if you are eligible for an income tax credit if you meet the threshold in terms of income. And here is more even resources for the tax and how to prepare your tax. And at the end, these are the resources. There is a copy of this curriculum on Allstate Foundation website. Check that out. I also provided information here for Independence Project. I've been mentioning it in every webinar. It's a small macro loan without any interest for survivors of domestic violence. It's a $100 box, but they can apply for it for multiple times. They need the survivor to meet with their case manager or advocate 3 times before sending their application. But I've heard it's a very quiet, fast process and pay off that loan to build up their credit history. There's also more information here for the credit and how you can, improve your knowledge of credit. And that's about it for the credit section of the curriculum. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Naseem, for that great presentation. I do have a few questions that have come in. The first one is relating to apartment search credit checks. When applying for an apartment and landlords are pulling your credit report, would every credit check result in your credit score losing 5 points?
So these are inquiries. If you take on the offer, I think it might affect you. I want to do a research about that, but I don't think the inquiries will affect it. But I would recommend you, as I mentioned, if you are searching for apartment, do that in a period of 2 weeks. And the fact is, like, usually big complexes do the credit check. So if you go for housing search in a smaller area or in a situation that there is like a more community search for housing, there won't be a credit check. One good practice that I recommend, if you don't want to take the risk and you don't want to your rate go down in any situation, it's to make a copy of your own credit report. So get a credit report, make copy. When you go, they can dispute that because it has like all the information and the credit report agency reference, and provide that for the housing agency. So they wouldn't need to do it on their own.
Thank you. And the next question I'm seeing, you already answered the first part of this question, but the second part was, are the claims true about the Experian Boost or a program such as that where checking your information or signing up for the program would automatically boost your credit score by about 5 points or some other small number?
I'm not aware of that. I don't think so. So just checking the credit, it boosts your credit score. I've never heard of that. I don't know if anybody has any knowledge, or my colleague Jennifer, but I don't think pulling out a credit report will increase your credit score.
Thank you. I'm not fully aware either, so we'll look into that and share some
Yes.
resources in the follow-up.
What was it? Was it Experian?
Yes, Experian Boost.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Another question that I'm seeing is asking about immigration status, and if someone who doesn't have a social security number had, say, come to the US as a tourist and overstayed their visa, can they get a credit card or a credit report?
So I have a lot of questions about this case, like including this person, does this person had a credit card before, before even like overstaying the visa? And because it becomes complex, if they never had a credit line of credit or any loans or debts, probably there is no credit report existing for them. So I would ask this person to follow up and see if we can, provide a better answer to the questions. Because I need to follow up with more questions.
And so I'll put Nasim's email address in the chat box. There is one question that I see, and Nasim, if you don't mind, I'll answer this.
Okay.
Previously, I was actually a tax preparer, and this is related to DV victims if the non-custodial ex-partner claims children on their taxes when they're not supposed to. Each individual tax situation can be very different and tricky for everyone. So if you had someone helping you prepare your taxes, I would refer that question to them. If you do have you'll probably need all of your supporting documentation to bring with you, including a family court petition, if it's been finalized in there, related to who has the right to claim the children and when, and any other supporting documents to say that you had that right. I'm not an attorney, but in my experience, those were sort of things that would typically be asked for in advance of us referring this over to a tax attorney. So if you do need some help with that, please feel free to email us and we'll see if we can find someone who can help you, or one of those websites that we posted earlier for tax preparation help. There are a number of folks who do that, who work for State Department of Tax or are otherwise very skilled experts in this. And it is a very common issue, unfortunately, to have one partner claim the children when they're not supposed to. So please do reach out to them and they can discuss your individual tax situations.
Yes, I think this was a perfect answer. And as Jennifer mentioned, we see it a lot. And claiming the children, it becomes a big issue. And not even on the tax, but then we can see it even on the stimulus checks, that ex-partner actually claimed the children and in the last tax return. And that's how they are getting paid on the stimulus check, not only for themselves, but for the children. And it's really a sad situation. Definitely reach out to us or we try to find a resource for you. I don't know if there is more questions. Okay, so one of the people participant in the chat box is mentioning that victim would have to file her own tax return with backup info, usually in paper form, so that IRS opens an investigation against the other parent. Thank you so much, Mara, for your insight.
There is a question related to whether a credit report is only a national feature or if this is a global credit
No,
report.
this is a system in America. I've never seen it anywhere else. And because I lived in different countries.
Are there any ways that you would recommend for a survivor keeping their address on a credit report safe from an abuser seeing them?
Very good question. I don't know if it's possible because the current address of the person, you change your address with the post office when you move and things like that, it will indicate on the report that where you are. And the best practice is not letting the ex-partner or abuser to get a hold of that report. I don't think it's possible to like black it out because it's like recorded on your documents.
Thank you. The next question I'm seeing is, do state-based rental assistance programs have any effect on your credit score?
A state-based, I don't think so. Like a public benefit or something like that. Am I getting the questions right?
I believe that's what it is. It would be a public benefit for housing. If the person who asked the question, if you just want to follow up and clarify, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
I see one question about how long do you credit inquiries stay on your credit report?
I think 2 years. It was on the slides.
And the next question is related to home ownership or beginning to start the process for being pre-approved for a mortgage. How do you have any advice on how your credit score could impact your interest rates?
Yes, we're going to cover that next webinar. We're going to talk about loans and buying a car and taking a mortgage. So I would, it's very extensive, so I don't want to open it here.
And I do see one request to share the link for the microloan programs. That is, I'm going to put a link to the Independence Project website, which is where you can, I believe, Naseem, please correct me if I'm wrong, that's where you can locate the programs that are doing microloans in New York State.
Yes. And there is also, I think that we put a brochure or information on the resources for this webinar and application process. So you can review that.
Okay. So I don't see any additional questions coming in.
Okay.
So with that, just a reminder. Oh, I did get one more before we close out, related to would paying off all debt negatively impact your credit?
Paying all debt can be negative. No, it's actually good, like paying all at the same time. If you can do that, that's actually a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I don't think it's gonna come with a negative consequences.
Okay. So, well, everyone, thank you so much for folks who've stayed over with us. Just a reminder, you'll have a link in the follow-up email to the recording for this session, all of the previous recordings, as well as a link to the materials for all of the 3 previous sessions. And of course, a link to register for next week's session if you haven't already done so. So thank you, Naseem, for all of your hard work today.
Thank you, Jennifer, and the interpreters. I don't know what I would have done without like all the helps and support and and Jen's insight in a lot of topics on finances too. I really appreciate it.